Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier and this is the Piracy Show. Now, on today's show, we're going to be kind of taking a look at the ship development pipeline, why some ships all of a sudden fly to the front of the line and other ships remain forever lost in development hell. Banu Merchantman! At first glance, the ship development pipeline seems kind of random. Why is one ship going in ahead of another? I mean, we talked about the Caterpillar yesterday, which was destined for a post 3.0 release, and then all of a sudden, boom, the Caterpillar was in the game. And then other times, you would think a ship like the Connie and its variants, which have been around for so long, wouldn't they all be finished by now? And it's when you start to get into these things that you start going like, wow, what mysterious forces are governing the ship development pipeline? Now, what governs the ship development pipeline is generally a case of need. For instance, this ship is required because this system is coming online and we want a ship to test it out, therefore we put this ship into production. That's generally what controls what ships are getting produced and when, and not other strange and mysterious forces. Now, sometimes it's kind of easy to figure out what's going on behind the scenes by an announcement. Take the recent announcement of all the ships that got their cockpits reworked. Gladius, Hornet, Saber, Gladiator, Vanguard. Okay, every single one of those ships, think about it for a second. What do all those ships have in common? All military. Guess what you just got? Apart from all those ships being redone, you now pretty much have an ironclad list of every ship that you're going to be able to fly in Squadron 42. You know, the game that's actually coming up next year. That's why those ships went first, because they need them for the game. All military ships, all probably going to be your flyable ships in Squadron 42. Now, some things aren't so easy to figure out. Take, for instance, stopping the Cutlass Blue and the Cutlass Red to work on the Constellation Phoenix. Well, we already have a version of the Connie in game, and he was already there working on the Cutlasses, so what was the reason for stopping the Cutlasses and going over to the Connie Phoenix? I don't understand. What game system was going to be implemented on the Phoenix, perhaps, that the Cutlasses didn't have, that would require you to all of a sudden stop that and move over to the other thing? What could possibly be so critical? Somehow, I don't think it was hot tub physics. Now, sometimes people think that CIG just outright hates a ship. Banu Merchantman! Realistically, it's more or less based on what ship best suits the function that we're about to bring online in the game and which one can we bring online the fastest, which is kind of why you might get the Prospector, but the Orion is still a fair ways away. So, okay, the ship pipeline is based on need. I get it now. But wait, I don't get it, because at one point we were getting tweets of a nearly finished Cutlass Blue, or something that looked fairly well along at least, and then all of a sudden the Cutlass Blue was shelved for a Connie Phoenix, which really doesn't seem to be quite that far along. Wait, no, I don't understand. And this is this is where, at that point where we start to breed conflict, because some of the old outlets that we used to have, say Reverse the Verse or Wingman's Hangar, we could get answers to these questions, at least even partial answers, like, oh no, there's a component in the Connie Phoenix which is actually going to be in several of the ships in Star Marine or Squadron 42, and you know, we need that to work, and the Connie, it's an integral part in the Connie Phoenix, so we figured, you know, two birds, one stone. We already have one of the Cutlasses out, so why not get the Connie Phoenix done and also finish up this system as well? Oh, okay, cool. But we don't get that anymore. But what if Josh Koons stepped in front of a camera and said, listen, I was working on the Cutlass Blue and the Cutlass Red, But, you know, Tony Zurevec was going to give me some rough design notes and outlines. He was going to work through the basic systems of incarceration and the medical systems, and that was going to help inform my design so I could really kind of nail things down for the red and the blue and get them done all in one shot. But then 3.0 was taking like a really long time, and Tony Z was really tied up in that, so he couldn't get that to me. So I just emailed Chris Roberts and said, look, Tony is stuck on 3.0. I don't want to bug him because he's busy right now getting these things done. Is there something else you need me to work on? Yeah, you know what? We have a little side project going on through the Connie Phoenix. Can you nail that thing down? Sure, I can. Boom. That little segment appears on ATV or anywhere, and people go, okay, I understand. And it alleviates that tension, you know what I mean? And so in the absence of information, you get speculation, right? And that's when all of a sudden all these reasonable ideas of what governs the ship pipeline go out the window, and we start to look more at different options. Now, as much as these ideas might appeal for comedy reasons, they're not really anywhere near reasonable. And chances are a lot of the hiccups that you see in a lot of the ships that start and stop and start and stop are because, oh, well, we designed this ship around this system, and then we realized that this system was going to be a lot harder to do than we originally thought. So we ended up having to go back to page 1 and redo this ship because the whole basis for it actually turned out to be not workable in the game, and we decided to go a different direction. Now, you guys might think that we totally delayed this ship or are putting it off, you know, endlessly just because we hate it. Banu Merterman. The truth is, we're simply putting it off because we don't have the system in place right now to support that ship, or there are already other ships that fulfill that role that once we have some experience with in the game with all these other systems brought online, we can then go back to that and make a much more informed build on that ship rather than simply building it now and not really knowing what we're going to do with it later. And in the end, that's always kind of where we come into this conflict. And you know, it's kind of what I was talking about yesterday. As we've lost sources like 10 for the chairman, and sources like Reverse the Verse or Wingman's Hangar, going back even further, as we've lost these sources, we've lost a lot of in-depth discussion, and a lot of the things that would populate and permeate ship updates are now gone. And I think that those were ideal shows for the format of discussion and the type of discussion we wanted to have. I don't really think you can do that over a Twitch stream in the format that Twitch streams have become. You know, I don't think that you can say, oh, hey guys, listen, we were doing the Cutlass Blue and the Cutlass Red, but we decided to cancel them and put them on hold for now because, oh, hey, thanks Falcon X for resubbing for 18 months. Anyways, what was I saying? Cutlass Blue, Cutlass Red? Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, we'll do them later, but not right now. Anyways, who wants to see me fly this Caterpillar? Now, at this point, you might be recoiling and going, oh my God, shots fired. What the fuck? And no, there's nothing wrong with Twitch streaming. There's absolutely nothing. It's completely viable. And there are certainly people out there who have a lot bigger audience on Twitch than I have on YouTube. And that is never going to change. But it's not exactly the format for delivering information about the game. And I think that what we need is more of the old 10 for the chairman segments. I mean, there's a reason why whenever they say, listen, we're doing a subscriber town hall and Tony Zurevec's going to be on, people just flip the fuck out because they're like, oh my God, Tony Zurevec, he's not going to describe every 1 and 0 in the code, but he's going to give you the spirit of what they're going for in every system in the game. And that kind of discussion is something that we need a lot more of. It's something that we've lost over time that we kind of wish we had more of. And it's a great thing to have people out there streaming Star Citizen on Twitch, but kind of using that as a hybrid format to deliver information about the game, I don't think is a good idea. I think we need to go back to things like 10 for the Chairman and the old Reverse the Verse, where there was a little bit of back and forth. Sure, there was some fun, there were some jokes, but there was that back and forth, and there was that information, you know? And right now it seems to be going in a different direction than it really should, and that hurts the conversation. And I think realistically, I think it kind of breeds a little dissent in the community, because there are people who are wanting to ask questions, and now their outlets for those questions are so limited. In a way, Twitch is kind of its own bubble, and it's something, especially in terms of gameplay, it's something that should be there. Absolutely. In this day and age, it's critical to expose people to the game and to promote the game. You have to have Twitch streamers. You have to have those people out there, and you have to foster that community. So anybody who wants to learn about a game can just go to Twitch and type in Star Citizen, and there's a list of everyone who's streaming Star Citizen, and they can watch them, and they can be exposed to the game, and they can see the game. You know, is it going to be something fun for me? Is it going to be something that I enjoy? Or they can hear someone talking about it and saying, oh, you know what, I had both, I had both the Gladius, and I had also the Buccaneer, but I like the Buccaneer better. Oh, so I'm going to go take a look at the Buccaneer. It's important to have those things out there, and it's certainly important to foster Twitch streaming, especially live gameplays. But trying to hybridize, kind of deep in-game information with that, it doesn't really work. Those are two separate formats, and I think we need the old Reverse the Verse back. We need some more sedate back and forth, some fireside chats, if you will, where we can sit there and say, hey, listen, I wanted to ask a question about projectile weapons and energy weapons in a world where energy weapons basically have limitless ammunition, and projectile weapons cost money to fire, and you can run out of ammunition. Are you keeping an eye on the balance between the two, making sure projectiles stay viable? Why, yes, we are. Now, we have noticed some variance here, but, we're keeping an eye on it, don't worry. And I think that kind of promotes kind of healthier discourse in the community. There's certainly going to be some outliers, but I think overall it's better for the community to have a show like that out there, as well as having, of course, Twitch and live gameplay streams. Now, coming all the way back to the ship pipeline, because it kind of feels like we went off on a tangent, but we're coming now back to it. The ship pipeline, and a lot of the shows that I made and a lot of the information that I did was based off of those interactions and based off of those conversations. And so nowadays, as we move forward, a lot more of these actions become mysterious and become question marks, because we don't have the full feedback. We don't understand, oh yeah, no, there was some systems that weren't working on the Cutlass Blue and the Cutlass Red yet, so we decided to stop work on them, and we moved to the Connie Phoenix, just because everyone's so tied up with 3.0 right now. They don't have time to finish up the systems for the Cutlass Blue and the Cutlass Red, and we figured, why introduce the ships if the systems aren't ready? So we'll come back to that later, and for efficiency's sake, we put them on the Connie Phoenix. So all's well that ends well. With that little bit of information, everything's fine, question mark removed, and we can move forward. And so when we're discussing the ship pipeline, it's becoming increasingly more difficult going into the future because of the shift in how the media or how the information is delivered to us now versus in the past. But that's the way it is. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And oh hey, thanks Minion Sucks for resubbing for